Good afternoon. Welcome to the FSDC webinar about the transformation of the banking sector and the career opportunities that lie ahead. So this webinar is brought to you under the Practitioner Speakers Series. And my name is Lavinia, and I'm the moderator for the webinar today. And I'd like to greet the two honorable speakers of today. They are Tracy and Kenny, who both are seasoned industry experts in this area. So Ms. Tracy Wong has extensive experience in the green and sustainable finance sector. She is the head of Sustainable Finance Asia at Standard Chartered, responsible for formulating strategies for the bank. Her other caps are Vice President and also Deputy Secretary General of Hong Kong Green Finance Association, HKGFA, as well as a member of FSDC Policy Research Committee. So prior to focusing on the green finance scope, she has over 20 years of financial experience across fixed income and also complex structured products in several international banks. And we also have Mr. Kenny Cheung, Alternative CEO, Deputy Chief Financial Officer of BLAC Bank, one of the licensed virtual banks in Hong Kong. So he'll be joining Tracy today to share their insights. Kenny has over 15 years of finance experience. As for his role in WeLab, he is a key member of the management committee. And prior to joining the We Group, he was with Standard Chartered Bank for several senior roles. So welcome, Tracy and Kenny. Welcome, Tracy and Kenny. So now moving along to our session. Kenny, perhaps you can have your camera switch on. Thank you. So now moving along to our session, given over the past years, ESG and Fintech strategy have continued to evolve into an important focus area in the banking sector. With their extensive experience, Tracy and Kenny will bring you some meaningful insight. And for the agenda for today's webinar, our speakers will share with you the career prospect and advice and some career advice of the banking sector. So we hope you'll be able to gain some genuine business and also industry insights of the banking sector. So hopefully their career advice would help you kickstart or advance your career development. The last session will be the Q&A session. So you're welcome to drop us your questions in the comment box anytime during the webinar, and we'll invite our guests to share their insights on those questions afterwards. So without further ado, let's begin the session. So perhaps Tracy, can you tell us a bit more about your career trajectory and goals? So what inspired you to make a major career change from conventional banking to other emerging and innovative banking sectors?
Sure, thank you. Hi, thank you for the intro as well, Phoebe, for the moderator. Thank you for everyone joining this call, and delighted to be here with today sharing together with Kenny, and thank you for FSDC for hosting today's webinar. So okay, coming back to your questions. So my goal, my purpose in life is to leverage my financial skill set to make positive impact in the environmental social fronts. And my blue sky is for everything green and sustainable, fully integrated in the main business. And we don't have a separate business for sustainable finance. That's my goal. And then coming back to your second piece of questions and what inspired me to have a major career change. And this, I will attribute that to my son. Because being a mother, and the motherhood really prompted me to think about food, air, and water. And I also have a very strong desire for my son to find his purpose in life. And that's what prompted me to think about my career and my purpose in life. So once I have made the decision to leverage my financial skill set to make the positive impact in the environmental social front, the rest is history.
Thank you, Tracy. So how about you, Kenny? Can you share with us some of your career adventures and what trick you use to make such a move from the traditional sector to virtual banking space?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, also I'd like to thank you FSDC for hosting it, and also actually I'm the one of the alumni of Tracy in Standard Chartered. So just you see the world is not that big, and we in the financial market we usually come across with each other. Actually, many years ago, I joined Standard Chartered Bank after graduation as an international graduate. It was an amazing journey, and I had a very great career path over there. But about 10 years ago, when I'm in the when I was in the regional office in Standard Chartered, I start to witness the emergence of fintech and observe how it was distorted the banking industry. And there are so many opportunities in the region. So I think I cannot miss the opportunities. And then I determined to change to fintech about 7 years ago, and I joined the Hong Kong leading fintech company, WeLab, by that time. So it was an amazing journey from moving from a large traditional bank to a fintech startup, which by that time in Hong Kong, it is not that an easy move because people is not so adapt to fintech, but all of us are talking about fintech and also how the technology is changing and evolving the industry. And that totally aligned to my goal. That is to bring some impact to the society and to have an impactful life in my career. So that's my sharing. Thank you.
Thank you. Both of you have like very inspiring story, and I think it is not easy to like step out of your comfort zone, especially in an industry or area which is relatively new by that time with a like rapidly evolving landscape. So yeah. So somehow you may have sometimes like hesitation or fear, but when you embrace uncertainties, you may be able to find some rewarding aspects. So ESG and fintech have been like evolving rapidly with new technology and standards, etc. So how did you develop expertise in the sustainability or fintech area? Maybe Tracy could share with us first.
Thank you, and it's great to be reunited with Kenny as well. So coming back to your questions, for me, I started with really trying to understand what's the market gap. What is the problem? What is the market landscape? By really speaking to a lot of people remotely related to this field to really get the better understanding. And then I did the Oxford Science Business School Social Finance Executive Program. And this really helped me to crystallize where I want to operate and what kind of impact and where I want to make it. Then last but not least, I really have to thank Hong Kong Green Finance Associations under Dr. Ma Jun's leadership. And it gave me the best learning ground from driving policy changes, capacity building, and to all the way to innovative transactions. So HKGFA really helped me a lot in the early developments of the whole career switch.
So how about you, Kenny?
Yeah, I would describe the pacing in fintech is really fast. And the key is to adopt the new technology and also the new thinking really fast. So to react and very agilely to respond to any open ideas as well as opportunities that is available in the market. So to equip myself with that expertise, we must keep very open-minded and observe how the world is really changing, especially with the technologies. And so even though no matter what expertise subject that you have been graduating from the universities, just keep open-minded, just keep learning and observing what is changing in the market, and embrace all these changes and find the opportunities over there. That's I would like to say is the key success factors to equip the expertise skill in this changing environment.
Thank you, Kenny. So for Tracy, what do you think has been the most exciting or rewarding part of your career? Do you feel like you are making a difference in your job?
How long do you have? So I think I have a long list, but to the conscious of time, I think I could share a few things. I think seeing an idea, concept, policy turn into a real market actions, like looking at how the Hong Kong green bond market has developed over the last 5 years, from ground zero to all the way that Hong Kong MA being the greatest sovereign bond issuer in the region, and then seeing like the voluntary carbon market, a concept, a platform being born last year from the stock exchange, and then also how some of the work that we do, unlocking some of the convention industry in helping them to accelerate the decarbonization journey or some of the social impact as well. Last but not least, I think able to help clients to stretch that little bit on their own sustainability ambitions and targets through financing, innovative financial transaction. I think that's really my highlight for my whole sustainable finance journey, some of the key highlights. And then answering to your last bit, whether I feel that I'm making a difference, I'll say yes. And not just me, I think all the practitioners in the whole ecosystem contributing to the process, I really feel that we are making a difference and really helping the society for a better world, for a more long-term sustainable future for everyone.
Thank you, Tracy. So, like for Kenny, any major rewarding aspects you would like to highlight in your career?
Yeah, sure. Definitely, I would describe all the journey is really rewarding. So for myself, as an example, I joined VLab from an individual contributor to build up a small functions in a startup environment, and now to a deputy CFO overseeing the finance and treasury area of a bank. That very accelerated growing path is really something rewarding. It offers me the opportunities to grow really fast, and that as long as you can demonstrate, you can make a difference, and you will secure that opportunities. And other than that's personal growth, it is also very exciting to work with a group of like-minded talents that is aiming for doing something really exciting to impact the society and changing the industry. And as what Tracy said, making differences to the society is really important. So work as a team, we together build a bank from scratch. That is really self-satisfaction. And you can really, for example, many years later, I can really proud to tell my kids or even grandkids that what I had achieved in my life, that is to build a bank, which is quite different from most of the people in the society. And that is really something that I can really proud of.
Thank you. I think both of your exposures and are really meaningful and also very exciting. So from your sharing, I can see the sense of achievement to bring in something new to enhance efficiency or effectiveness of an industry is really meaningful and impactful. So we'll now move to the next section, which will invite Tracy and Kenny to share with us their experience and observations specific to the ESG and fintech industry. As not many students may have the chance to gain relevant work experience in the two areas at this stage, it will be good to learn from the two speakers sharing. So feel free to drop us your question in the comment box and we'll address them during the Q&A session. So for Tracy, sustainability is a megatrend that permeates at all levels of life and business. So what does ESG mean for the financial sector? What impact do ESG criteria have on banks?
Very good question. So allow me, as you mentioned, sustainability, ESG, they are a big word. So allow me some time to debug what that means, at least from my own interpretations, right? So sustainability in a banking industry, in umbrella, we kind of have under the whole umbrella in the setup of Standard Chartered, we have sustainability, chief sustainability officer, which oversight the whole bank's sustainability agenda. And within this umbrella, there are two kind of vertical in a way. One is sustainable finance. So from the everything that is relating into transaction related, this is where I sit on driving sustainable finance transaction with the clients. And then the other side, outside the finance bit, is where with all the environmental social risk management, disclosure, reporting, net zero strategy, or that another side. So transaction related focus, that where all the label transactions like green bond, green loans, sustainability, the whole shebang, and then everything else. So under one umbrella in the banking world. Now, if I go back to then going to answering the ESG. So actually, as Standard Chartered, Kenny will know this. So since 1997, we already have the environmental social risk management function set up. What does it do? It actually look at each of our clients' company profile to look at their environmental and social impact. And before any transaction take place, these exercise, we have an assessment done for the client's environmental social risk management level before we conduct anything transactional related with the client. So this is really fully embedded into the journey. And fast track on this from ESRM functions really embedded holistically across the bank to all the way to 4-5 years ago when the sustainable finance umbrella being set up. This is the function that I am in charge of, helping our clients when they make a financial transactions. How do we look at whether that capital is going to for an environmental impact, social impact, or actually how do they articulate the client's sustainability journey? May that be decarbonization or some social impacts as well? So that functions being evolved, and we do like evolve along with the whole market in a way. And from a bank's perspective these days, you will think about, okay, net zero, decarbonization is another massive word, right? So a bank, how do we approach net zero? How do we achieve our net zero? So as Standard Chartered, we are committing to operationally net zero by 2025, and then finance emissions before 2050, by 2050. And what does it mean? Meaning that every single dollar that I lend to client, if my client don't arrive at net zero by 2050, and I cannot arrive to net zero by 2050. So this is where within the sustainability umbrella, that net zero strategy and positioning, and how do we how do we transition, and how do we help our client to transition? So this is hopefully give you a flavor what, you know, actually sustainability within the bank's context, there are many functions involved that are, you know, in order to deliver this key pillar.
Thank you, Tracy. Very extensive explanation on this. So ESG associated with lots of opportunities and risks, and they're becoming more and more relevant for financial institutions from your sharing. So we are seeing growing investors' interest in ESG factors, and like ESG adoption across the financial sector seems inevitable. And we can see that like Standard Chartered is allocating increasing resources in this area. So the drive from the private sector is really important. So for the next questions, I would like to turn to Kenny. So how fintech innovations are changing the financial services industry? In particular, how is fintech disrupting the banking sector?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I would say, well, I may say fintech is disrupting the banking sector, but I may also rephrase it that actually fintech is helping to reimagine the financial services with technology. So we categorized the digital transformation by introducing some digital first user experience and focusing on addressing the customer pain points. Because no matter as a fintech or as a bank, the objective is to serve the customers, to provide them the products and services that help them to manage their financial journey. So addressing any customer's pain points that nowadays the customer may still experience will be one of the very key focuses areas that the fintech can help to change the industry. So take Vila Bank as an example. We dedicate to deliver the intelligent banking services that helps customers to manage, to save, and to grow their money. So very obvious, you have to become a customer in virtual bank to enjoy this type of intelligent banking. And by that opening an account is really something different from your experience in traditional bank. So in the past, you have to go into the branch, fill in many different forms, hard copies, and then you may take up half days, few hours to complete the whole KYC or the AML process, which is you have to be conducted in person in a branch, queuing up. But you know, with virtual banking, now you can open an account without filling all these multiple forms, and you just click a few buttons, and then you can open an account in a few minutes. But actually, that's just the start. I would say, for example, Standard Chartered and many other different retail bankings, they are also having the same technologies for the moment. And then the fintech is the emerging of the fintech is actually help reshaping the industry practices. But we are not just changing the channel of delivering the banking service, but more importantly, actually technology can deliver more. It can enable the bank to introduce several groundbreaking innovative products. For example, in Villa Bank, to name a few, that we have the Go Safe Time Deposit, some of personal loan service, Loan Master, the numberless debit card, and also some a digital wealth advisory solution, Go Wealth. And they are all well recognized in the market and industry. And actually, for those who want to know more about this, just download Villa Bank app and become our customer to experience them. Yeah, but seriously, I would like to elaborate a bit more. To take Go Wealth as an example, in traditional bank, there is a relationship manager, the RM, in the branch to listen to your financial goals, provide you the recommendations how to invest, and they usually serve you only if your portfolio is large enough. So if you have not enough money, they may deprioritize you or may spend less time with you because of the resources concern. But we are as the first digital bank in Asia to launch the robot advisory solutions. Actually, you can set the goals in our banking apps, and then you can the banking apps will instantly provide you the recommendations how to invest in the portfolio of funds. And so no matter how much assets you have, you can enjoy the same services as having a private banker as your RM. So that's something that the virtual banking is trying to implement in the market to change the market. And with that evolving, we sure that we'll bring the financial inclusions to everyone in the society, so that everyone can enjoy the same level of excellent banking services, no matter you are a private banker's clients or you just a mass market clients.
Thank you, Kenny, for the detailed sharing. So there are lots of innovations brought by Fintech with different tech solutions, such as what you mentioned, promoting financial inclusion. So even retail customers can enjoy the same service as private banking customers, as you mentioned. So Fintech really stand out as a great allies in the market to increase competitiveness and also efficiency in the financial sector. So for Tracy, can you share with us the benefits and also advantages of a career in ESG? What are some of the job roles and functions available in the emerging field?
Sure. Before that, I want to also respond to Kenny. I'm a digital bank user, and I can attest the account opening compared to the traditional service is very, very different. So I think I was able to do it within 2 minutes of a new account. One of the digital bank in Hong Kong anyway. So I definitely enjoy that. So coming back to your questions, advantage and benefits in a career in ESG, and then what are the some of the job role emerging in the field, right? Okay, so I think the faster growing, like Kenny, I think both of our field is one of the fastest in how the market is going. And just to put it into perspective, I think despite 2022, the overall financial market has a lot of headwind, and in sustainable finance market, it hit $1.5 trillion US dollar, but the market gap is still humongous. So to put it into perspective, in order for us to net zero by 2050, we need an additional over 100 trillion US dollar. This is the funding gap in the market. So given that with all the commitments across different countries under the Paris Agreement to achieve net zero, so you can see the demand and need that is upcoming, right? So I think this will continue to be very strong in demand across different kind of function. Now, what kind of function? If I start with the bank, I mentioned a few already. So within the bank, within sustainability, myself, I'm in sustainable finance origination. I'm hiring in China, Hong Kong, Singapore. The job openings actually on the website. So do apply on our website. Will be definitely answer quicker than me. So do to look for those openings. And in addition, some risk function, second line of defense, and we also have transition financing, like an industry specialist team on some of the high carbon intensive industry, looking at how their profile, how they transition, advising client from there. And then also sustainable finance, like governance, a lot of governance or initiative take place. So actually many function in the bank, they're all hiring within the CSO umbrella. And outside of that, you can imagine all the other functions, even like supporting functions, marketing, like corporate affair, second line of defense on climate risk. All these actually need, ESG, sustainable finance, sustainability kind of knowledge as well. So really hiring across, I would say. And then outside the banking industry, you can see from buy side, sell side, asset owner, asset manager, regulator, exchange, family offices, all these are also looking for ESG talent as well. So I think the list go on, and the whole ecosystem need to step up and deliver, and the demand is huge.
Thank you, Tracy. So I can see there are lots of like different ESG employment covering different areas. Kenny, just now you have shared some of the difference in, for example, the vision of conventional bankings and like and also the emerging virtual banks, the difference. Do you mind sharing with us more about the difference in corporate culture or like work culture?
Yep, sure. Yeah, I would say although the visions may be slightly different, but actually both traditional bank and virtual bank is serving the customers' needs. So we share similar visions, but maybe the choice of how to deliver it is while the virtual bank or the fintech may more inclined to the new technologies, to embrace the technologies. So that is something that virtual bank may be in some advantages in adopting those new technologies. And to really leverage on this and to really act fast, the structure here will be a bit more smaller team in structure. The hierarchy may be more a bit more flat comparing to those really big international or traditional bank. Because with that more smaller team of flat hierarchy structure, we can be really lean and open, and the opinions from different levels can be really heard. But I would say, because I also grow in Standard Chartered, I would say that's something really important, especially in Standard Chartered. I also enjoy experience similar kinds of open mindset and open culture. But I would say in fintech, because the flat hierarchy, even you are entry level or junior level, your experience can be really heard from the boss or the CEO. So with that open and direct communication culture, the decision can be made really agile. And also by doing that, because we commonly believe in the same way that live in the future and build what is missing. So with that mindset, so no matter you just have 1 or 2 years experience, or you have 20 or 30 years of experience, with that live in the future and build what is missing mindset. So we find out what is still really missing. And then we have this common goal and guided by some shared values like getting comfortable with uncomfortable or grow faster than the company. Those kinds of culture that we share in together. Then you can imagine in VLab, it's like a place that people having the same goal. So being result oriented to work together on something really meaningful. So it's more sharing about how we can gather these types of people together, other than when the people coming on board, and then we have different kinds of training or sharing that develop different people mindset. Actually, a bit like in the hiring process, we will have some culture elements over there to assess the candidates' culture fit. So to find the teammates that we share the same common goals, common understanding, and common culture fit is one of the success factors that building a work culture that is that can achieve the goals together.
Thank you, Kenny. So Can you share with us the outlook of Hong Kong in terms of like talent acquisition in ESG and fintech space in the perhaps next 3 years and beyond? Maybe Tracy could share with us some of your insights.
Sure, I think this is huge, right? Like I mentioned, but I want to take a step back to call out how serious are we in Hong Kong. So first of all the way from the policy address, you can hear Hong Kong, we want to set ourselves up as an international green and sustainable finance hub. Now, looking at how the government and regulator organize, so I hope that you have heard something called CASG, Cross-Agency Steering Group. So this is 2 government body, FSTB, Environmental Bureau, together with 5 regulators, HKMA, SFC, HKX, HKIA, and Pension. So all these regulators together with the 2 government body set up together to really working out on strategy on how to really deliver that Hong Kong as an international finance hub. So that hopefully give you the seriousness and how Hong Kong is positioning in this way. And secondly, to substantiate under the cross-agency steering group, the MA had this cross-agency and led by the MA, they have been doing a lot of data and ESG talents capacity building program. So now you will see a list. So under the MA website, there is a repository where they list out all the local and international ESG related training program on helping people that looking for enhance their skill set with this list of certification and training program, etc. under the website. And to top that up, so recently the government also launched the 3 years ESG talents program, which is a subsidy for paying and subsidizing all these certification training costs every year with up to 10K per year for 3 years. So I think this is free training program, subsidized. So I really advise, for the student here, really look it up. I think some of the questions relating to this, like where do I start? So the training course is on the repository website, and there's subsidy program that you can apply to cover the costing as well. So I hope that this really gives you the perspective on how big of this agenda Hong Kong is looking into driving the ESG talent.
Thank you, Tracy. So how about the fintech side?
Yeah, I echo Tracy points that for in the market there this demand of ESG or fintech is really huge, and then there are many support, many different agendas that is helping to bridge the talent gap and in order to support the further growth in both markets. So I will also describe actually the industry will be sort of the fintech talent in the market. So while I say it's sort of fintech talent, because all of us can imagine when in the university, there are not much program that is really just focusing on fintech, although there are some degree or master degree that is also focusing on fintech nowadays. But I would say the demand of this talent pool is much higher than what is being trained in the universities or in any education circumstances. But is it really a must for someone to acquire all this knowledge before he can enter into an industry? It's not. Actually, fintech, I would say, we encourage all the financial talents to equip themselves with technologies. And also we welcome the talents with good understanding of the financial worlds to join the fintech. So people will learn throughout the journey, learn on the job trainings. And there are lots of opportunities that everyone can be part of the fintech, as long as you have the heart to grow and you have the heart to develop your skill sets. So I would say, while there's may not have readily available talent sufficient in the market, but I would say there are sufficient people with the heart to grow and to develop, as long as you want to enter into the market.
Thank you, Kenny. So I think it is important for the students and also young practitioners to understand both sides, both the rewarding aspects and also the challenges, stress at work. So when they choose their career. So from the perspective of like junior staff, what are some of the most challenging aspects of a career in fintech and also ESG sector. What are the complaints you hear most often from young practitioners? Maybe Tracy could share with us first.
Sure. So as I mentioned, this is very fast growing, and it does require a lot of you, and especially in the front line, like the team I'm in origination. So there's loads of different demands coming in at all time. And then the most common complaint is the jargon. So it's like a whole new world with alphabet soups like SDG, ESG, TCF, IC, VCM, NGFS, CASG. I mentioned this is just endless. So I think this is a lot to pick up. It's almost like a new language. So and even you say the things, some of the terms being interchanged. So when we talk about transition finance or financing transition, it actually has very, very different meaning. But when people say it, sometimes I often have to ask, what do you actually mean before I answer the question? So it's a lot of this that need to be soaked up in the field to get familiar with all these different terms. But I think the upside is huge, like I mentioned, right? One of the faster growing, and where take my team as an example. So I started with I think the bank started with in Asia from a team origination in Singapore. Now I have team in China, Hong Kong, Singapore, India, as all the key major hub to really drive transactions, and the team continue growing. So your career projection is can be a lot fast track and being in demand. So
do you see the same challenges in like fintech space as well for Kenny?
Yeah, I would say for not the jargon, but I would say actually I would like to also echo to one of the Q&A that Calvin is asking, which is I think quite similar, quite echo to this question, because what I see from the fintech for the young practitioners, one of the common challenges they are facing is that what the knowledge or experience that they bring from the textbook, from the universities, is not always applicable to the real life. Because the banking market and also the technology is changing really fast. For example, Calvin asked whether having some qualification like CFA will really help. Yes, that definitely helps, because for example, from a CFO perspective, having some qualification from accounting or the CFA really helps, because that's the foundations that can help you to apply the professional knowledge and then make the decisions. But that is also the challenge most of the young practitioners face, because you will find that there is no clear manual to follow in a fintech, because fintech is always finding a new way to work, to change the market. So you won't expect there is a procedure manual that you can follow from day to day and then doing that routine work from time to time. So everyone is exploring the potential to reimagine the financial services and also to reimagine the way that we work. Well, the challenges will be, well, what I learned from the university for 4 years may not be really some apple-to-apple applicable for the daily work life. But it is also something, the opportunities for the young people to capture, because leveraging on that experience and also embracing with the heart to evolve, and then they focus to solve the problem by leveraging on those changing the world technologies. So I would say that's some very common complaints from the young practitioners, that they find really hard to adapt from the universities and then to the workplace. And then they had to find what they learn can be really applied directly, but that is something really make the differences. How to embrace what they learned, what they had in their heart and in the brain, and then leverage on the new changes and then make the differences.
Thank you, Kenny. So hopefully the sharing from Tracy and Kenny can add as a reference point to facilitate the young practitioners to make informed decisions in their career development. So next we'll move to the career advice section, which we aims to provide more practical sharing that could help improve your chances of finding a relevant job. So perhaps to Kenny, what disciplines of graduates are you looking for to join your company? For instance, do you prefer students with finance or like economics or like tech-related degrees for virtual banking, fintech roles?
Yep. For example, in my functions for finance and treasury, of course, having some similar or relevant education background or qualification would be an advantage, but I would say it is not a must. But I would describe being more curiosity to growth, intellectual curiosity is the key to be success in a fintech company or in a virtual banking. So don't protect yourself with the knowledge or experience that you have acquired. You have acquired in the past. Keep exploring. And actually, this also echoed to one of the questions that asked in the Q&A that how the AI may be impacting the virtual banking. So all of us know the ChatGPT. Is really something a hot topic recently. So I would say the bank or every one of us cannot escape from the impact of the changing technologies. The ChatGPT or the similar kinds of AI or those kinds of technology will definitely have impact to the bank, to every industry, and also to different professionalisms. For example, when I'm hiring for example, an accountant. So when there are two people in front of me, one is having 30 years of working experience that is mastering all the accounting knowledge that can type all the debit credit entries as a very professional accountant. But he doesn't know what is ChatGPT. Versus someone with just 1 or 2 years of experience, and then he can tell me how ChatGPT may affect or impact the finance bookkeeping industry, and also how the financial system may be affected by ChatGPT and how such changes should be considered at the moment. Definitely, the younger people that embrace the technologies will stand out. And so that's the attributes that I would say the fintech companies really looking for with the intellectual curiosity about technologies.
Thank you, Kenny. So for Tracy, what kinds of like prior experience or knowledge are necessary to be an like ESG expert? Like, do you prefer students with perfect skill set or with an like innovative mindset?
Very good questions. So I think the typical skill set that we are looking for inside the experience, financial product, environmental science, engineer, and understanding the environmental and policy backdrop and how that impact finance or company and that opportunity lies, and it's helpful. And then some of the personal attributions, like think outside the box, being able to connect the dots, are very essential. And within SCB, we have 3 key behavior that we look for, and it's very relevant for our field and actually in all the hiring we're looking for. So I'm sharing it here. Do the right thing, never settle, and better together. Kenny, I don't know at the time that when you were in, were they the same behavior attribute? I think, but these are the set personal attribute that we are looking for, and we continue assessing this in throughout the job as well, not just at entry level.
Thank you. So it is good to know that there is not a like definite requirement for academic background when your company consider candidates. Do you think it is difficult to find a position in fintech or ESG space for now? So what are some common entry-level jobs, or what are the most popular roles for the ESG and fintech space for now? Maybe Kenny could address first.
Yeah, sure. I would say there are lots of opportunities in fintech. So there's no limit of which type of jobs or whether it's entry level or middle level. I would say as long as you have the heart to participate in the fintech, to help reshaping the industry, and you're smart enough and embracing the change, then you will definitely find a role in the fintech area.
Thank you, Kenny. So how about Tracy?
I have to be honestly saying that it is difficult to hire people, ESG talents in my field and across market as well. And different market have different challenges. So I think the answer is yes, it's difficult to hire. And the many opening we have shared already, but I think to the all the students listening, you know, there's one natural advantage that you have is the language. Because for some of the key markets, China contributing to a quarter of the total carbon emission in the world, and the opportunity in China is huge. So to able to speak, you know, for Greater China, North Asia, being in Cantonese and Mandarin, that open up that massive market already. And then and in terms of some of the common entry level job, I would actually recommend you to look out for graduate program for the bank, because for us to do the job, we require at least, depends which, like as I mentioned, within sustainability, there's actually many functions that is touched in this space, right? So for where I sit as origination, so I do look for people that have the financial product kind of understanding and level. So being able to go inside on the graduate program give you maximum advantage, because you're able to rotate in different departments and exposed to different product set. That's one. And be very specific on the ESG or sustainable finance space. So again, there are a number of programs where the regulators, the governments are encouraging. So even for myself, I have took on a graduate position sitting with my team for almost half years now. And then in other program, I think MA is running on job shadowing. So this opening, there are a number of banks involved, and they are having a central place where they help to promote and this kind of program for you to for if you're interested in the role to apply. So there are not just my bank, but a number of banks involved. So these give you the direct exposure to sitting with us in the sustainable finance field. I think I do encourage you to look out for that for like, live transaction. But in general, I think graduate program for going into a bank is it's definitely, I see, massive advantage.
Thank you, Tracy. So both Tracy and Kenny have shared with us lots of like tips in how candidate could stand out from the crowd. So the sharing is like absolutely awesome and useful. So hopefully this can give the audience some guidance on your career planning. So we'll now move to the next section, which is the Q&A section, and we'll address some of the questions from the participants. While Kenny has already addressed some of the questions from Kelvin, a specific questions to Tracy from Kahin. So how you can like convince conventional industry to embrace sustainable finance? Does like sustainable finance help improve client relationship?
Very good question. I think some three things. One is, as I mentioned, the last I looked, over 140 countries in the world have made publicly make or net zero commitment. So you know that the backdrop is happening. On the back of that, from in terms of the carrot and stick, the regulations policy fronts are moving very fast. So from the company perspective, even you don't want to act now, the regulation and policy is going to catch you in one way or other. And secondly, I mentioned about the funding gap, that opportunity. So we need over 100 trillion US dollar in the world to move to net zero per se. So that business opportunity is huge. So it's about looking at these three angles, from the country commitment to the regulation policy, the stake, and then to the opportunity. That all three triangles really helped for me to convince the industry to move. And then I think also to answer whether that helps improve the client relationship, we now, of course, the market is very diverse. Still, there are clients are in all sorts of spectrum. Some are so advanced that they are actually looking they're the leaders in the industry on driving all of this front. But there are also clients in the very nascent early stage. But so we are seeing clients that actually coming through and say, actually, we will only want to do this transaction if it's sustainable finance label. So they're looking for banks that with the experience, with the capability to help them to deliver. And increasingly, even if you look at in Hong Kong landscape, we're now seeing some of the client in their commitment, they have marked certain percentage of their financing that need to be sustainable finance labeled. So this is very aggressive in the way that from very early stage asking the question of, okay, what is in for me? Why do I need to do that? To all the way they set themselves a target to deliver and all the way. So yeah, so it's still very diverse, but then, you know, with the regulation policy and the awareness of the opportunities in the market, this really helped.
Thank you, Tracy, for the insight. So for Kenny, with fintech being an essential component in the financial services industry, so there are more fintech startups in this sector. So what are the major differences, like the pros and cons, between working at a fintech startup and an established corporation in the financial services industry?
Yeah, I would say that's a really good question, especially for the young practitioners to think about their first job or the first few jobs after they graduate. I would say there are really pros and cons, but I would say it's not a cons, but different focuses that that you will that you will find out or you will focus on. For example, in traditional, you'll find out that you have a much more structured process, structured procedure menus for you to follow, and then you will be work with a large team of people that help you what is something right to do every day, and then that's you can develop a mindset and have the really understanding of what is a good corporate governance and the cultural structure. Of course, as a virtual bank, we are also a bank, also governed by the regulators. So we're subject to the similar kinds of corporate governance. But at the same time, as I described before, the structure here is much more lean. That means that you won't have the process as structured as or as predefined as the traditional bank. Every day we'll always find a way to improve the existing BAU process to find out the efficiencies from every single or fine-tuning opportunities. So with that, you will change. You will develop the mindset in a fintech company that you always want to make changes. Making changes and embracing the changes is will be the key for you to develop in a fintech company. So where you develop your mindset to know the very structured rate to do things, and then after you understand that, and then you try to find out how to improve, or whether you try to learn how to change the things first, and then try to change it into a very structured way, will be something quite different in your early stage of a career.
Thank you, Kenny. So I think we have addressed like most of the questions from the participants, and this brings us to the end of the webinar. I think we all have a terrific time on this webinar, and I'd like to thank Tracy and also Kenny again for having such an open discussion. And I hope this has been a really great experience for everyone, and hopefully for students and young practitioners, you have learned more about the industry and gained knowledge about the career prospect of the banking sector, especially the latest development in ESG and also fintech. So hopefully that could help you with your career planning and also advancement. And before we end the webinar, we would like to invite all participants to fill out the survey and give us some comments about the arrangement of this webinar. Please stay tuned to the next webinar events that are going to be hosted by the FSDC. Thank you very much, Tracy and Kenny.
Thank you. It's a great experience. I want to leave one last point while we have all the students filling out the survey. So I want to share this one point. Take your time and find your passions. You know, your passions, understand where your interest, what you're interested in. This will give you the superpower. I think do take your time, find what you love doing and then go with that direction.
Any like last tips from Kenny?
Yeah, I would like to echo to Tracy that while I'm not an expertise in ESG, and of course ESG is such a hot topic that for example, for my treasury functions, we also look for some green bonds or the ESG investment opportunities. I would say one of the very key takeaway is for the career, for our personal life, whether we are really making some changes to the society and making some changes that is impactful to the society. No matter it's reshaping the banking industry and then to bring a much better financial journey to the market, or having more involvement in the ESG to help promote the sustainability of the society or of the world, is really something really matters. So just echo to Tracy points. Think of what is really passionate, that you are passionate, and then what is really meaningful to your life and also career.
Thank you, Tracy and Ken. So we'll see you in the next event. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks, Kenny. Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.